Guys, you know what I love about this? It's the time of the year where we think we know, and we don't know.
No idea.
We don't know. A year ago right now.
Guess, educated guess, right? I mean, it could be worse.
A year ago right now, nobody on this show was saying, oh, yeah, TCU is going to be in the national championship. Nobody was saying LSU is going to topple Bama or that Tennessee is going to end up having a number 1 next to their name for a moment. So let's get right into it. We tasked everybody that's a college football expert at ESPN to rank them. And here they are, the top 25, the power rankings. And we start with Tulane, the defending American Conference champs. The Green Wave closed last season with a bang, winning their last 4 games, including the thriller 1-point win over USC in the Cotton Bowl. So they come in at number 25 in our annual power rankings. Oh, there is Jimbo Fisher in A&M. Number 24, had that midseason losing streak, led to a 5-7 finish a year ago. Did beat number 6 LSU, though, in the season finale. Connor Wigman, the young quarterback, expected to hold on to that starting job, and he's something. Texas Tech has upside. They're number 23. Big first season with Joey McGuire, the head coach. Red Raiders went 8-5. They throttled Ole Miss in the Texas Bowl. Tyler Shuck, the quarterback, ran for 100 yards, had 2 scores in that game. They are a big sleeper. Year 1, of course, with Brent Venables at Oklahoma, it didn't go as planned. They come in now at number 22 in our power rankings. They dropped 4 of their last 5 games last year, a 6-7 finish, losing to FSU in the Cheez-It Bowl. Dylan Gabriel is back at quarterback for a 2nd season in Norman. Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss, number 21. We're going to learn a lot about the Rebels right away. They finished September with a slate of Bama and LSU. And consider that Tulane, currently ranked, Ole Miss could play 3 top 25 teams within their first 5 games. And that is the way it looks. There it is, the first 5 in our power rankings, with Ole Miss coming in at number 21, Sam.
Yeah, no, I love it. And so I think the biggest thing for me that stands out is that Texas Tech is ranked in this poll, and they weren't in the AP poll. I thought they were the biggest snub. They finished off the season with 4 straight wins. They beat Oklahoma. They beat Texas. Obviously, they won in the bowl game. And so I'm happy that Texas Tech is now ranked in our poll, because I think they were snubbed in other polls.
Yeah, them, along with Kentucky, along with UCLA, a handful of others that clearly had a strong case to be made to be in the AP top 25. The one that I'm focused on is Texas A&M. At Texas A&M last year, everyone said, well, hey, 2022, man, look at that recruiting class. I mean, my goodness, Jimbo Fisher, they got it rolling a little bit. Aggies were kind of that special dark horse type of team that people were saying, hey, man, keep an eye on the Aggies. They might win the national championship. Look at the roster. But it was just too soon. Now they fall all the way back to a reasonable expectation where the schedule is still very challenging. It's the SEC West, but Bobby Petrino is now calling the plays. Jimbo Fisher is going to be able to focus more from an administrative role and being able to manage the day-to-day of the locker room and the culture and all those other things. So I think Texas A&M is one of those teams that you can buy low right now because the talent level is not reflective of a team that should be ranked in the low 20s.
I still have concerns, though, when it comes to Bobby Petrino calling plays, because will he be calling the plays or will it be Jimbo Fisher? There's still been talk of Jimbo saying, well, I'll have my input. And it's one of those things where Jimbo's been controlling that offense for so long. You give it up, and if things don't go well early, what happens? Is there going to be tension in the locker room and the coaching staff? That's my only concern with this A&M team.
Wisconsin comes in at number 20. Of course, new head coach Luke Fickell takes over at Madison. Badgers fans should be exciting because they're getting a drastic change with an offensive philosophy. The new play caller is Phil Longo, and they're going to be willing to air it out more than they ever have. At 19, it's UNC. Of course, their hope rides on the right arm of Drake May, outstanding quarterback. Led all of FBS with over 5,000 yards in total offense a year ago. Coach Mack Brown and the Heels, they have to fix one of the worst defenses in the Power 5 rankings all of last season. At 18, it's Oregon State. The Beavers won their last 4 games a year ago. They had a 27-point win in the bowl game against Florida. DJU from Clemson comes over for a fresh start as the starting quarterback in Corvallis. K-State comes in at number 17. They beat TCU in the Big 12 title game, but star running back Deuce Vaughn is off to the NFL. The good news, Will Howard returns at quarterback for the Wildcats, and you know they are so solid and well coached. And speaking of TCU, well, here they are all of a sudden, coming in at number 16 after playing for the national title last January. Chandler Morris is going to run the show at quarterback in Fort Worth. Max Duggan has moved on. But after that magical season for TCU, we will see if they can live up to things. It's interesting, guys, Sam, in just sizing up TCU, because obviously we've never had this in the recent era of college football where somebody almost makes a March Madness college basketball type run, a Cinderella run to get to that spot. But then you got to properly assess them. They had a lot of very close games that all broke their way a year ago.
I wouldn't even necessarily say that those games broke their way, because sometimes those tendencies matter. You find ways to win those games. We would think, oh, it's an accident. No, man, you just find ways to win. But what I'm concerned about with TCU is all of their losses, right? Max Duggan, Quentin Johnston, but even more importantly, Garrett Riley, the offensive coordinator. How are you going to replace that? He's at Clemson now. And so it's not the close wins per se. It's these newly acquired, or I guess new losses when it comes to offensive production, even and also just coordinator as well.
Yeah, Kendall Briles is the new play caller there. He comes over from Arkansas. He's excellent, by the way. Obviously, the Baylor tree there. I want to ask you about North Carolina. They got the star quarterback. Can they just get enough defense to be right up there in the ACC?
I was a little surprised that they're held in as high regard as they are amongst not just our experts at ESPN, but in the AP as well. They didn't finish the season well at all. They almost got figured out a little bit. They lose their offensive coordinator, Phil Longo. He now heads to Madison to coordinate the offense for the Badgers. I think Drake May's a phenomenal talent. They also have to replace their top wide receiver. They also have to figure out how they're going to disrupt the opposing quarterbacks in the ACC defensively, because last year, as far as their disruption numbers defensively, were just atrocious. Now, they did bring in Amari Gaynor from Florida State. He should help quite a bit in that regard. But, man, North Carolina is one of those teams where you see them in the teens, and it's like, I'm just not quite sure I'm totally on board with that number just yet.
And then K-State shows up here. I mean, this is a conference champion a year ago. Man, I feel like there's a range in the Big 12, Sam, where teams could end up anywhere in the final standing.
That's true. Over the last 3 years, there have been 3 different Big 12 champs. As much as we want to talk about TCU and how great they were in the championship appearance, as you mentioned, K-State won the Big 12, and it wasn't even with their starting quarterback. It was with Will Howard, who came in after Adrian Martinez got injured. And actually, that was a great move because Adrian Martinez got healthy, and they kept Will Howard at the helm. And so there could be so much movement. There's a lot of parity in the Big 12, but K-State specifically is a team that everyone should be watching.
Most underrated team on that list is Wisconsin. I mean, I know that, but they could be this year's TCU. And part of what I mean there is you have a regime that was there for a really long time. I know Paul Christ and prior to him, they did things a certain way. Now you inject a little energy with Luke Fickell, a new offensive identity, and a program that maybe felt a little stale now gets a huge boost, plus the schedule sets up pretty nicely for them. Keep an eye on Wisconsin as a big-time sleeper. 20 is way too low.
Now we get to the big boys, 15 on down. And number 15 is Oregon. The Ducks went 10-3 in head coach Dan Lanning's first season. Bo Nix is coming off a big year for the Ducks at quarterback, had 29 touchdown passes, completed 70% of his passes. The Irish are number 14 after going 9-4 under Marcus Freeman in his first season as the head coach. They won 6 of their last 7 after that choppy start to the year. Had the thriller over South Carolina in the Gator Bowl, and you know Sam Hartman's coming in as the quarterback. Utah comes in at number 13, back-to-back Pac-12 champs. The Utes going for 3 straight conference titles before they move on to the Big 12. Cam Rising recovering from the ACL. He returns after tossing 26 touchdowns a year ago. Washington's number 12, a lot of momentum. Kalen DeBoer, the head coach. Michael Penix Jr., the quarterback, threw for over 4,600 yards last season. That was the most of any quarterback in the Power 5. Number 11, speaking of offense, Tennessee. The Vols quarterback, the biggest arm in college football. Joe Milton had 3 touchdowns in the Vols Orange Bowl win over Clemson. Georgia comes to Knoxville this season. Vols play Bama on the road this year. So that is number 15 through 11 with Tennessee at number 11. You start to want, listen, Hendon Hooker last year, the great wide receivers. They're loaded offensively. Do you trust Joe Milton?
Not yet. And that's a big not yet. Hendon Hooker was outstanding last season. Before his injury, he was my number 1 for Heisman candidate. Joe Milton needs to prove that he can operate in this offense. I mean, you're going from an offense that was the best offense in all of college football, and it's not just like a rinse and repeat. You have to prove you can do it. Yes, he has a huge arm. probably the biggest arm in all of college football, but it's more than just a big arm. It's the accuracy as well.
Is Texas back? And why does this guy keep saying that? Why? We're going to find out week 2. That's when they visit Bama. Sark, he's got Quinn Ewers returning as quarterback, Xavier Worthy at receiver. They dipped into the transfer portal. They are ready to be back. Clemson at number 9. Fell short of the playoff a year ago. Did win the ACC. Cade Klubnik, talented starting quarterback, now a sophomore. New play caller, Garrett Riley, comes over for TCU. Be interesting to see what the offense looks like. Penn State at number 8. Listen, they are loaded. They are loaded with talent at O-line, running back, across the defense. They're going to break in a new quarterback. Sean Clifford is graduating, 4-year starter. Drew Allen, big-time recruit, big-time expected to have the job there. Speaking of experience, Florida State comes in at number 7. They've got it at quarterback. Jordan Travis, he led the ACC in total QBR a year ago. Seminoles have a star in defense who we just talked about, Jared Verse. Turned down the NFL draft to return for another season in Tallahassee. And number 6, USC. Of course, the Heisman winner, Caleb Williams, looking for a repeat in New York. Eventually, he will be the number 1 draft pick into the NFL. The question is the defense. They allowed 93 points in their final 2 games last season. Alex Grinch, he's the DC there. They went into the transfer portal trying to solve problems at defensive line. Greg, have they solved them enough? Listen, Bear Alexander was this big 5-star defensive tackle at Georgia, the kind of guy that Georgia just picks right off the assembly line and throws into the SEC. He's now at USC. Is it enough of gathering guys like that out there in Hollywood?
I would hope. And look, you got to anticipate a year 2 bump, too. New system. Alex Grinch came in, tried to employ a system. It was met with mixed results. They gave up a lot of big plays, but they also turned people over. Nobody in the country did a better job of forcing the issue than USC last year. The problem is those things have a tendency of coming back to earth a little bit. You're never going to be plus 22 in the turnover margin, then the following year be plus 22 again. You're probably going to be maybe plus 12, plus 11. If they are plus 12, plus 11, how much does that impact their win-loss total? Because that's what I'm paying the closest attention to.
Hey, Sam, I'm curious to your opinion on Penn State here, right? Obviously, we know all about Michigan and Ohio State and how that heavyweight fight goes in the Big Ten. This Penn State roster, when I look at it, I think this is one of the best Penn State rosters hitting the field in years.
And people are saying this is the best Penn State defense that James Franklin has had. To the point that Greg made earlier about this Penn State team, this defense, you're going to pick 3 different guys. They have 3 different guys that are up for some different awards. The Bednarik Award, best defensive lineman in football. They have guys up for the best defensive player in college football. And so the Penn State defense is set. The question is going to be Drew Aller at quarterback. What are you going to do? Yes, you have your starting left tackle, first-round pick is going to come back. But what's going to happen at quarterback? That's where I'm concerned when it comes to Penn State.
The funny thing about Penn State, though, is it's almost, well, they are deserving of all the excitement that's kind of buzzing around State College. It's almost like they're a year early. I mean, if you really look at Penn State and you look at some of the guys that are contributing at a ridiculously high level, it was supposed to be 24 was their year where they really surged through. You think about the tandem backs, the sophomore quarterback, some of the weapons on the defensive side, Carter, defensive guy, obviously, true sophomore. So it's almost like they're kind of playing with house money, which is a great spot to be in because everyone anticipates next year being the year. And then, hey, guess what? We got nothing to lose. Let's go throw our hat in the ring against Michigan with all the pressure and Ohio State with all the pressure.
And finally, here we go. The top 5 in the ESPN Power Rankings. LSU at number 5. Shocked everybody in Brian Kelly's first season as head coach. They're actually a better roster now. Jaden Daniels returns at quarterback. Malik Neighbors at receiver. On defense, Harold Perkins Jr., an absolute stud. Alabama and Coach Saban at number 4. 2 new coordinators. Tommy Rees, former Notre Dame play caller. He's the offensive coordinator. And this is life after Bryce Young. So it's either going to be Jalen Milroe, Ty Simpson, or Tyler Buckner at quarterback. Another team that has to have a new quarterback, Ohio State, they're number 3. It'll be Kyle McCord or Devin Brown. C.J. Stroud gone. Whoever starts at quarterback, don't worry. You got Marvin Harrison Jr. at wide receiver. At number 2, it's Michigan. May have the best offensive backfield in all of the sport. J.J. McCarthy, of course, under center. 2 of the top running backs, Blake Corum, Donovan Edwards. Wolverines coming off back-to-back Big Ten titles and college football playoff appearances. And the big dogs, of course. Were you really doubting this? Number 1 is Georgia. Folks, you got to go back to 1936, the last team. That's when the AP started. That's the last time a team won 3 straight national titles. But Georgia could be in position to do this. And somewhere right now, guys, somewhere right now, I know Kirby Smart is repeating what he said after this past weekend scrimmage. What have you done to deserve anything, he would say to his players. What have you done to deserve this big number 1? What's the potential pitfall for Georgia?
Complacency. Maybe not having the edge that they had collectively the last couple of years, because for whatever reason, Georgia was able to convince themselves in 2022 that everybody was doubting them. Everybody thought they couldn't win. Everybody thought they couldn't repeat. And none of us doubted them. I think for most of us, they were a top 2 or 3 team in college football coming into last season. So complacency could certainly get them. And then inadequately replacing some of the key pieces that were so important to them. If Carson Beck isn't up to where exactly we think he might be, that could be problematic. And if they have a tough time replacing some of the unbelievably great pieces in the interior of the defensive line, that could also be problematic as well.
One of the things I love, and we were at the national championship game last year and got a chance to watch Georgia practice. Their coaches are on every single detail. I've been on teams that have gone to national championships one year and the next year fell off. We lost to you, actually, which I'm still upset about. But sometimes you can get complacent from a coaching perspective.
Sure.
You're not going to see that at Georgia. And so they're deserving of number 1, but watch out for Michigan. They've changed their mindset. They beat Ohio State the last few years. They have a new goal in mind.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.